Hey everybody, and welcome to the Nerd Kitchen. So this is a series that we put together just to help educate business owners and business decision makers when it comes to all sorts of topics related to IT infrastructure, managed services, and anything else you can think of that nerds love to do. So today's focus is on phishing. Now, I'm going to imagine most people watching this video have probably heard of phishing. The big stat we love to throw around in the industry, 80% of all network intrusions start with email. And I would say for some industries, and depending on which one you're in, it could be as high as 90 or even 90 plus. Now, what we've seen over the years is most of those come from phishing. And just a brief recap on what phishing is it's basically an email where they're pretending to be someone else, where they're phishing for information. Maybe they'll put a link in there trying to get you to log into your Amex account. Maybe they'll say that they're your boss and try to get you to do something that you wouldn't normally do, or your boss wouldn't normally ask you to do. These are pretty normal phishing attempts, and most people who have been in business long enough have probably seen examples of these either in their own inbox or, hopefully not, but know a coworker who has fallen prey to them. So let's talk a little bit about what every company should have in place to try to avoid these exact types of situations. And there are ways to avoid them. Nothing's foolproof. There's always chinks in the armor, but protecting yourself, at least to a minimal effect, is going to have huge benefits in the long term for protecting your data, compliancy, especially with insurance compliancy, and making sure that your employees can do their job and not have to worry about constantly evaluating emails to make sure somebody's trying to sell them Google gift cards or something. So what we recommend, and we're always going to recommend this, is to have some sort of phishing protection in place. And this is not a substitute for spam protection. We're going to talk about that in a different episode. But phishing protection 100% is focused on phishing. Now, there are a couple of components that every good phishing protection solution should have. One, it should absolutely have an administrative access where you can go in and you can see what's happening within your email environment. How many attempts have there been made against your employees? How many of them were screened out? How many of them got through? It should also have a method for notifying employees if an email is suspected to be phishing. We don't want to screen out legitimate emails, but sometimes they get a little iffy. So we want to make sure you're putting banners up and somehow you're notifying the people that are receiving the emails that this one might be shifty, look a little closer. And the third is, and 100% have to have this, is an educational piece. There has to be a way to, one, test your employees' knowledge of phishing, two, give them additional training on that so they can expand that knowledge, and then three, see results. You got to be able to quantify this stuff. You don't want to be spending money on a product that you can't prove it's actually doing anything. That's a recipe for a future cut that could end up burning you. So the product we love, we're only going to show you products we love on this show. There are lots of phishing products out there, but we are big fans of Iron Scales. Maybe someday they'll sponsor us. That would be great. Hint, hint, Iron Scales. So we have it up on screen here. Iron Scales is a phishing-only protection software. It integrates directly into your email solution. So it's a pretty easy install. Anybody could take care of it with any technical knowledge. And you'll notice that all the big things that you're going to see that I just talked about in a phishing protection platform, you're going to find right in here. You're going to find information on incidents where you can kind of go in and see summaries on what's happening. You're going to find information on simulations and training. So right here in this instance, now this is a test account that we set up, but you're going to see within the time frame that we have from May 31st through June 30th, 16,381 inspected emails. That's a lot of email. So it's going to tell you we had 10 incidents. It's going to tell you how much remediation was done. You can get a good snapshot of what's going on here, and then you can dig in deeper from there. But the real power of a solution like this comes from this section, the simulation and training part. This is where you can run your own campaigns. You can put together pretty much whatever you want. And here, we'll throw one together right now. So we're going to hit new campaign. We'll just pick our Laughing Rock test account. We'll give it a name test. Now you can do SMS training here. I don't know. Maybe some of you have seen an uptick in SMS messages. I know I have. But this is primarily for email. So if you want to get into SMS, though, the option is there. So here's where you're going to add your people. So we'll just throw in whatever. We'll throw in the whole company. We're just going to hit everybody on this one. And then right here, we're just going to throw in our date range. So put in, I don't know, whatever. Time to start, that's fine. 4 p.m., 4:05 p.m., no problem. And we're going to end this on the 7th of July. So now you'll notice it's automatically going to calculate based on your start and your end date how many emails per day to send through the campaign. That's designed because it's really important when you're trying to get good actionable information. You're not hitting all your employees at the same time. You're not hitting them constantly. You don't want employee A to be telling employees B, C, D, and E that there's a phishing email out there and they should be aware of it. You want to make sure everybody has a chance to interact organically. So spacing them out over a long period of time and keeping them a little innocuous is a huge part of a successful campaign. Once you've got your campaign stats set up, you're going to go in and you're actually going to design a campaign. You're going to pick out whatever it is you want to do to try to trick your employees. And I want to be very clear. We've gotten complaints that, oh, that was tricky. I didn't like that. The whole idea here is to trick them. So if they're going to fall for your email and it's done properly, they're going to fall for a real phishing email. So you want to make sure this is as true to life as possible so that you get an idea of who's actually looking. Are they looking at the senders? Are they looking at the hyperlinks? Are they taking a deeper look at the email content to make sure it all makes sense? If they're not doing it on an example email, they're not going to do it on a real email. So that example email has to be as close to the real thing as you can possibly make it. We will put a link into a document we have that gives you some of the big ticket items you want to look at in a phishing email. But let's just go ahead and finish this out. We're going to go ahead and pick, let's do IT support. And let's go ahead and urgent security alert. Let's see what that one is. So we'll pick that out. So here's an example of an email that would be sent out. Now, a lot of people like to pick things that mimic things that are actually happening right now. Maybe use Slack. So here's a Slack one. Now you'll notice it's coming from internal-it.info, but I could absolutely see somebody seeing that it came from Slack and clicking on View Now. So we're going to go ahead and choose that one. So we're just going to select it. Now you can choose multiple and have it mix it up. We're just going to choose one for now. And then in here, you're going to actually choose what they're going to see on their landing page if they fall for it. So if they click on that click here button and they fail the test, it's going to come to a custom designed landing page that tells them, one, it was a phishing simulation. Don't worry, you're not going to get in trouble. But two, give them a link to the training material that they need to complete in order to pass the assessment portion of this. Now, the assessments are huge. So you want to make sure that they're learning from these experiences. The test is going to show you if they actually watched the learning video and they're understanding what happened that went wrong. And then you're going to have a benchmark now for future example campaigns where you can actually go through and you can say, hey, employee A, you failed the last two, but the three before that you were fine on. What's going on? Or employee B, 5 ago and 4 ago you failed, but the last 3 you've passed with flying colors. Thank you so much for putting the effort in and learning. But you can see who's trending up, who's trending down, who might need a little bit more work, and where your security gaps might be. So once you pick we're going to go ahead and do scenario explainer. That's already checked. We'll just leave it at that. Basically, it'll tell you what happened, what the scenario was. We can preview that real quick. There you go. Throw your logo on there. It'll tell you everything that's going on, and here's the watch video link. So this is where it's going to actually show you how you can avoid this type of situation in the future. And at the end of that, that's when the assessment will happen. So, and then here you go. It'll give you which video you want to show. We're going to pick, spoofing email. And then next, it's going to give you basically a review. And you're all good. And that's all it really takes to build out a campaign. So these things are instrumental. We have to make sure that we're constantly on top of this, because anybody who's in the IT world is going to tell you these types of threats are never static. So it's not like a virus where once we identify it, we can go ahead and look at a virus definition and we can screen that thing out pretty easily moving forward. This is a constantly evolving, constantly changing threat that from day to day, sometimes from hour to hour, the approach being used on a phishing email will adapt and adjust, because there's really no effort on the hacker's side. They write a new email, take a new approach, and they can send it out to millions of people, and it's a numbers game to them. They're not personally doing any work. So it's much like fighting terrorism. We need to be successful every single time. They only need to get a couple of emails through to win. So constant vigilance when it comes to phishing is the best recommendation I can make, and using a phishing protection software is 100% the best way for you to mitigate this type of risk from your organization. So my name is Craig Stonehoff from Laughing Rock Technology. This is the Nerd Kitchen, and we'll be back at you in a little bit with another episode. Thanks so much.